This is going to be the first video in a new series of basically how to escape bronze, silver, get to gold, at least in the jungle specifically. So I'm going to preface this entire series by saying I'm not a jungle main. I understand the concepts, I understand the champions for the most part and all of that stuff, but some things that I do, maybe potentially I could have done better. I'm not going to claim to be like a challenger smurfing in silver, so it kind of is what it is. So for the first game we are going to be playing udyr, and we'll go ahead and just set this and only use my vision. And so what I want to do as part of this series is to kind of just be able to talk about like my thoughts and stuff throughout the game, the decision making, because jungle is a very decision making role. So potentially
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Just by being able to make better decisions or see the game in a different way, you'll also be able to replicate success. I'm going to be playing a lot of different champions. I'm not going to be like maining or sticking to one champion for it. I'm just going to pick based off of what I think that I can do with their team comp and the my perception of how the game is going to play out before the game. And I'm not going to be uploading every single game as part of this series. Sometimes I don't play very well. Sometimes there's obviously just like AFK games or troll games or something like that. I played one earlier where pretty much everybody got mad and 3 people just sat on the fountain until the end of the game. I'm not going to be uploading those because there's nothing really to learn from that. So the first thing to note is that I actually came out and I leveled my tiger and I used it once running off a fountain, if you caught that. So that's a very big part of udyr's level 1, is that you want to have whichever your Q or your R, usually your Q. You want to actually use that once just to prime the tiger so that you have the dot ready, and then whenever I start camp I'll be able to double dot. So I pretty much just watch for the invade. I don't place a ward here. Oh no. Okay, we can speed this up. So 1 auto and then back into the tiger. So that's how you get the most DPS on your first buff. There, I kind of just know like that I did hit the blue with my tiger, and so I just let it walk it off with the DPS. I'm also going to be commentating things that maybe I could have done differently or better throughout this game as I see them. I would say this is like my first game jungle in a few years. So it's all fine. I could have potentially kited the camps a little bit better, but it's not the end of the world. An important thing to note is that I was using abilities like while running between like wolves and into this jungle and everything. Like you'll notice that I was switching between bear and turtle pretty much at the last second to keep Monkey's agility up. So that was that's kind of the purpose of that. Monkey's agility just adds a lot to your jungle clear and it adds a lot to your pathing. So here, going into this game, my thought was I don't really want to play for top lane. Like, so as a jungler loading into the game, the first thing you have to think about is like what's your win condition and stuff. Like how do I get the lane ahead that has the best chance to get me to carry the game? So, or to carry the game, you know, with me. So I'm looking at Alawi versus Yorick. Now, I'm not seeing a lot of playmaking potential here. Like, Alawi doesn't have very good gank setup. She has a slow. I have a stun, so like potentially we could put out a lot of early damage onto the Yorick. However, Yorick has grasp. Yorick is going to scale into split pusher that's going to be able to duel Alawi anyways. So if Alawi sits like in a side lane with Yorick, I think that Yorick eventually just outscales in terms of damage, or normally would. In this case, like this Yorick has taken Grasp, which is not very good, but like just assuming the Yorick to Conquer or something, you know, do what they're supposed to do. And so it would basically come down to like Alawi having Ignite and Yorick not, which would decide like the later stages of the split. But I don't, like I'm not going to coin flip between these lanes, basically. And if Yorick ends up, like he's not going to take W level 2, but if he does take W and then I get caught in the wall thing, like the gank is pretty much just over and it's a big waste of time. So I don't really want to play for top lane. I'm against Nasus, which I do out damage him early. He's got Dark Harvest, which again is like the wrong rune in my opinion for Nasus. Should pretty much just be like Nimbus Cloak or Conqueror or Grasp, depending on what he wants to do. Probably not Grasp in the jungle though. So I would say maybe Nimbus Cloak. Not Nimbus Cloak. Phase Rush. Sorry. I would say maybe Phase Rush or maybe Conquer. Either way, I don't think that Dark Harvest is that great. Even still, his champion concept just counters my champion concept. And so even though I could beat him early and I could look for invades on him, I know that I can't really hold him down. He's going to get a ton of stacks anyways, unless I play mega aggressive and just constantly sit in his jungle. But there's no guarantee that I'll be able to do so. This game is silver MMR, I think bronze or silver MMR. This account is bronze 2 at the time. So if my laners don't play with me to enable me to invade this Nasus and constantly sit in his jungle, I can get collapsed on and die very, very easily and basically just throw the game for my team. So I'm not trying to live in his jungle. Okay, so I look at the mid lane matchup, and this is a Kog'Maw into a Veigar. Now, I don't know how this Kog'Maw is going to build at the beginning of the game. He ends up going AP, but like either way, I'm kind of just outranged pretty heavily with Kog'Maw, so I'm not saying that there's not gank set up here. Veigar is a champion who can potentially do work against some of the champions on the enemy team. However, I also want a second lane to play around. And so if I'm thinking like, okay, mid is good, I can play around mid, I'm also looking at bottom. I'm looking at bottom mostly because Pyke is a very snowbally champion in solo queue, and Twitch is a very good champion in solo queue as well, if he's played by somebody who understands Twitch's identity. And I'm also seeing that they have a very squishy bot lane. They opted in for Vel'Koz support, and Vel'Koz support is just very, very, very squishy. So I'm thinking if I can kind of snowball on bottom with the lethality champion in the support role, and with Twitch, who is a snowballing ADC, or just an ADC who can scale very, very well into their team, then I think that the game is not going to be that bad. So I mostly want to play around bottom, but I also think that there's a chance that I can play around mid. So I path accordingly. I'm going to path top to bottom, and then I'm going to try to be bottom at 3 minutes. Another reason why I know this is going to work is if you look at the lane matchups, like Caitlyn, Vel'Koz are going to get shove on the wave compared to Twitch Pyke. Like Twitch Pyke level 1 is very, very bad. Twitch Pyke level 2 is also pretty bad. So Kate and Vel'Koz are just going to be able to shove that in. And so because I know that they're just constantly going to be able to shove in, I expect them to be overextended in the early game. And look, here they are. So I'm going to come in and look for this gank. So we would normally be like panning our camera here and kind of looking at it prior. So I'm also seeing that there was some fighting and stuff going on beforehand. I remember thinking to myself like, oh, this is really good. Like I think, yeah, Caitlyn burned heal, Vel'Koz burned ignite, and then Twitch flashed out. And this is all stuff that I saw like on my screen while I was watching. I didn't see the Pyke ignite, but that doesn't really matter. So I'm coming in. Caitlyn's, you know, basically just poppable. So that's what I'm looking for. Throw it in Tiger first, just soak up a little bit of damage. And that's that. Caitlyn is dead now. Auto the minion there by mistake, but it's all good. I am udyr, so able to catch up and pick up that kill there. Misclicks are just part of the game. It happens. So I come up after picking up, I think 2 assists on that. No, I actually got the kills on that. So getting the kills on that kind of sucks, but it puts me in a better position to carry the game. I would like to see my team being able to pick up those kills, but kind of is what it is. They were both kind of low going into it, and I knew that they had burned some summoners, so I wasn't really trying to risk and let them potentially die. I'd rather just take the kills in that case and get the gold and try to snowball the game, you know? So I come up, I'm going to clear bot scuttle. That's pretty standard. You're usually going to take the crab on the side that you clear to. So if I start at top side, then the side I'm clearing to is bot side, which means I'm basically guaranteed to get bot scuttle. Now, most junglers in low elo are just going to mindlessly clear bottom to top, which means that I'm conceding this top scuttle crab to Nasus. I'm kind of just trying to avoid him. For the reasons that I said earlier, his champion concept kind of counters my champion concept. In addition, I don't know. Top and mid are very volatile lanes, and I don't know who's going to have shove. So I'm just looking to avoid Nasus. Now, I clear the crab, and I immediately come and look for this Grump. I was thinking to myself, like, I remember thinking at the time, like, oh, Nasus wouldn't have cleared Grump because it's not very good for him to do that. He would only get, like, a single Q on it, like a single stack. But he ended up clearing it anyways. I expected it to be up, but it wasn't, so kind of unfortunate. What I could have done, actually, was when I started to come for this invade, I could have actually been pinging this Alawi back, because if I don't see Nasus, pretty much as soon as I take crab and start walking into the jungle, if I don't see Nasus, that means that he's not bottom. Because in low elo, like, if you gank a lane, their jungler is probably just going to kind of like mindlessly run towards the gank even if they can't really do anything. It's sort of like a reactionary thing. So I could have actually been pinging this Alawi back and potentially would have saved her here, but that's kind of unfortunate. Now, I look for the Gromp on this, and I noticed that Vel'Koz Caitlyn have already come back to lane. So I'm actually thinking about just repeat ganking them. Since I still have red buff for a small period of time, I was thinking, maybe we can get something on that. But then I noticed that my Pyke was actually backing and my Twitch had already backed. So rather than run in here and commit to the idea of ganking them, even though I really wanted to, I know that they didn't really have the resources to stay after I ganked for them last time, and they had already recalled, so there's nothing for me to do here. So I go back. I'm just going back, so now I'm going to my top side here. So the reason I'm going to my top side is that I actually didn't clear any of my bottom side camps. If you remember the way that I started the game, I actually pathed from blue to Gromp to wolves to red into bottom, and then looked for scuttle and then moved into their jungle. So I didn't actually clear I didn't clear my raptors and I didn't clear my Krugs. Now, I didn't do that because I wanted to be bottom at a particular time for the gank, and that does kind of set my jungle behind because these camps are not rubber banded. So rubber banding is a term that's used to kind of talk about jungle camp EXP. So whenever you kill a camp as a jungler or as anybody, if you kill a jungle camp, the next time it respawns, it will be a higher level than it was when you killed it. And it's based on like champion levels and all the stuff like average champion levels in the game. So in the early game, like when everyone's leveling up super fast, you can assume that if you kill a camp, when it respawns, it's going to respawn at a higher level, which makes it worth more EXP and gold. However, I didn't clear these bottom camps. So it's actually kind of bad for my clear now because udyr is a champion that can play as a power farming jungler, but whenever I gank bottom at level 3, it basically says to the enemy team, like, udyr is not going to be power farming this game. So just something to note here. Now, I was going to path directly to my camps, but I decided to just have a look at crab. Now, the reason I went for crab here is because although I talked about how I conceded this top crab to Nasus if he decided to show up and take the crab, I also thought to myself, like, Nasus isn't a champion that can really kill the crab super quickly. So maybe he didn't take it just by chance, and it doesn't cost me anything to look, like maybe a couple seconds. So I just decided to come over here and look at the crab, and he actually didn't take it. Now, Vygar was pinging for a gank on this Kog'Maw, but let's look at whether or not this is a gankable thing. So I have two choices once I clear this crab, right? I can run mid, or I can run into my jungle. I guess like the third choice would be to kind of like sit top and see if I can get a gank on Yorick, but I already talked about how I don't really want to do that. So in my mind, I have two choices. I can gank mid, or I can just get back to my clear. Now, I know that my clear is already behind here, so I'm valuing it very highly in my mind. However, I'm going to look at this scenario and see, like, is it worth it? Can I actually pick up a kill here? Can I do something here? And so I see Kog'Maw has very little mana, but I also see that Vygar only has like 60% health. So if something goes wrong in the gank, it can very easily result in Vygar dying and then Kog'Maw snowballing the game from there, which is the last thing that I want, because I want to be playing around mid and bot, but it's going to be super hard to do that if mid gets fed. And then my only option is playing through bottom, and because bottom outranges me so heavily, like they're playing two of the longest range positions, or whatever you would consider them, champions or whatnot. They're playing one of the longest range lane combos in the game. So if they acknowledge the fact that udyr can only gank bottom, like let's say mid gets super fed and I can't show up and kill this guy, then if they acknowledge that I can really only, like I'm really only looking to gank them, then they can just place very far back and it's going to be very hard for me to do anything on the map. So I don't want to give Kog'Maw any chance to kill this Vygar, and I'm thinking this Vygar really doesn't have any health anyways. So I'm not going to look at this as a very viable option to gank. So I'm just going to get back to farming my camps. Obviously this guy's pinging for help, but I don't care too much. I'm just kind of going to ignore this guy, play my own game. Also notice how my clear's a little bit different now, because I actually went back and on my first back I actually just bought a Tiamat straight up. And I did this because I had the gold too. I had pretty much like a perfect amount of gold. You can see I just did 2 camps, and yeah, I have like 500 gold. So I had pretty much the perfect amount of gold to get Tiamat. And so I was just going to value that. Now, since I cleared my rubber bandit camps, now I'll look for this Kog'Maw. So I did that just to see if he had vision there. I wanted to know if Kog'Maw actually warded this, and it was apparent to me that he did ward in that brush. Now, I wanted to get the invade on Nasus here because I just had the feeling like he wouldn't be on this side of the jungle. Now, I'm sitting here. While I'm sitting in this brush, I'm actually watching mid lane right now. And I'm seeing, like, if Vygar lands a good amount of poke, I'm actually going to skip these raptors and come around and do this. Could I have started the raptors? Yes, but I didn't know exactly where Nasus was. I assumed that Nasus was on his bottom side and clearing to top, but I didn't know when exactly he'd be at these raptors. So maybe this is a little bad of me, like maybe I should just know. That ward's also pretty bad. I was still like setting up like hotkeys and stuff. Like some of the controls were a little bit different. Sometimes my client like resets the buttons on me, so I was like also trying to fix the controls while I was playing this game. It was kind of rough. So I accidentally placed like a really bad ward. That's not a very good ward. Now, I actually did look at top lane as well while I was basing here, just to see if Yorick was going to do anything. Like, if he wanted to shove under the tower, then I probably would have tried to defend the dive, but it didn't really happen, so I just recalled. I looked for a gank mid, I looked for a gank top, but there's nothing there, so I'm not going to force it too hard. At this point, I figure, like, I'll just back because I have a good amount of gold. I was able to get tier 1 boots and Hunter's Talisman, so now I have a lot of mana in the jungle. Part of that clear with Tiamat means that, or Tiamat only means that you really don't have a lot of mana. And that means that ganks are also even more risky for the deer than anything else, just only having machete, because if you fail the gank or something, if you spam a lot of abilities while you clear, then you're not able to fight as effectively, and it just feels really bad not having mana on the deer. So I decided to just go back, get the talisman, get my tier 1s, and get back to these camps, which are rubber bands spawning. Now, when I come here, I actually noticed that this is warded, and I think that that's just kind of odd. So I'm going to come back. Looks like bot lane is actually picking up a couple kills here. At least 1 kill here, which is really nice. Scuttle was spawning top side, which is part of the reason that I decided to take Raptors and then go top rather than bottom. I saw that Scuttle was going to spawn on the top, and so I figured I have rubber bandit camps, and I have Scuttle Crab that I can deny from Nasus, so I figured I would just take that. Now, I also saw that this Kog'Maw was pretty extended now. I don't know where his vision is, but I'm going to assume that there's no vision here at this point in time, because remember the last time was like a minute and a half or 2 minutes ago that I actually sat in this brush and kind of just bait and see if Kog'Maw would stop me, and he actually did throw the Q right at me. So I knew that this brush was warded a couple minutes ago. So I'm going to assume that the next time that he had a trinket, he probably placed it on the other side of the map. Although this might not be a very good assumption now that I look at it again, because he is playing very like left side of the lane. Let's see actually where his vision was. Okay, so he has a pink here. This pink isn't very good, for the reason that you're about to see. Like, it doesn't protect his vision. So I knew that because he warded this brush before, I assumed that he would just ward this brush again. Players who place bad wards consistently place bad wards. It's not like a one-time thing. So I figured that this brush was warded, but I figured that if I looped around, I could actually catch him. So here's all of this. Okay. And then he kind of just flashes out, so at least we get his flash. We did something for our mid laner, kind of took the pressure off. Now, one thing that we could have done was help Vygar shove in the next wave, but I didn't really want to do that because I wanted to get down to the bottom side of the map. Now that my red buff was up, and I wanted to start putting the pressure on this bot lane now that I had red buff. Without red buff, I'm not super confident in ganking bottom. And then I see Vygar based and Kog'Maw obviously like shoved in the wave, so I was thinking I'll just catch this wave under the tower. And then I saw this Kog'Maw harassing me a lot, so I'll back up a little bit so you can see this. Because my decision making changed like very quickly. So when I took the red buff, I was thinking like, okay, I want to do something bottom with this. But then I panned my camera bot and I looked, and look at these laners. Like, Twitch has no mana, 50% health. Pyke has mana, but he's only like 25% health. And Cave Vel'Koz are very, very healthy right now. So I was thinking, even though I have red, like, I want to go bot lane with this red buff, but I really can't right now. I need my laners to reset and get some resources to help me out with the gank. So I'm not going to go bottom, even though I want to. And then I saw, okay, mid lane reset, and Kog'Maw is actually shoving this out, and Kog'Maw is quite healthy. So Kog'Maw is probably going to shove this wave in, and then maybe look to recall himself. I don't know what kind of gold he's sitting on, but... So I was like, okay. Let's just go mid and catch this wave then. Notice Vygar's only just leaving base right now. Kog'Maw would be able to free hit the tower the whole time. Vygar is not a champion that wants this mid lane tier 1 to fall. Like, very big if he keeps this tower as long as possible, because he like continues to scale AP, which is wave clear and all that good stuff, and then it gets so hard to siege against him because his event horizon is so impactful. So I was like, if I can just hold this tower for him and keep it healthy for as long as possible, that's very good for us. So now what I was thinking is, I'm just going to, let's slow this down. What I was thinking is, I want to clear this wave. Like, first and foremost, I want to get Kog'Maw off of this tower. And after I get Kog'Maw off of the tower, what I want to do is clear the wave so that he cannot continue to hit the tower. So I come up. I kind of like go into him, you know? And then once he backs like well away from the tower, that's when I start focusing on the minions. Now he uses his E. And that's number one for me. So I'm double buff udyr right now, which means that if I get on you, like you're dead. Kog'Maw has no way of escapes. I already burned his flash earlier over the wall that I knew about, so I knew that he doesn't have a flash right now. The only thing really keeping me away from him is the fact that he has an E. If he chooses to stay. Like, I thought if I just shove him off the tower and then start hitting the minions, he might actually just walk away and look to recall. Because he probably has gold to spend. I don't know what he's sitting on. So he's sitting on 697 gold, which is not very much, but he could go back and get something with it. But that's what I anticipated. I just anticipated him leaving. But he stayed. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, I have double buff. So if he misplays this, I'm going to look to kill him. And so he throws his E out. So to me, that says, like, okay, it's about time to kill this guy. So put him in the bear, see if I can kind of chase this down. And then I just decide to flash on him. Now, I decided to flash on him because I kind of saw that this pop-up was happening, like red team is slaying the dragon. I kind of saw that pop-up as I was doing like that little back and forth wiggle with him. So I thought, like, well, if I'm going to kill this guy, because I could just like run him down the lane with bear stance, and I know that my bear stance is much lower cooldown than his E. So I knew that I could, like, in a vacuum, I'd be able to chase him down the lane. But now that I saw that Nasus has killed the dragon, I know that he's going to come mid lane if I continue to try to chase Kog'Maw down. And I don't want to try to 1v2 right now because I know that I'm just going to get my ass beat. So I figured I better kill this guy as quick as possible. So I actually just decided to flash on him, get the stun. Notice how I walk ahead of him. Okay. And then we're just walking right with him. Really good at orb walking. He actually presses cleanse there. So I don't know why he decided to cleanse. Maybe he thought that he had a different summoner spell or something. I'm not sure. Maybe he thought that cleanse is going to save him somehow. I don't really know, but we got his cleanse as well. This is all obviously very good. And now I'm thinking, I got to get the hell out of here because Nasus is coming. Sure enough, Nasus does show up just as I start to leave into topside river. So now I'm thinking, okay, wolves are up. I'll just look for wolves. And I also see, with the vision, I see that Nasus actually goes into his topside jungle. So now I know that if I clear down towards bot lane, if I get there, then it's going to be isolated and Nasus is not going to be there to counter gank. That's Twitch pinging on the way to bottom. Let's move this up a little bit so I can see it. So the reason I take these Krugs here instead of looking for the gank immediately is that I want to give Twitch time to catch up. Like, even though me and Pike can dish out some damage again, well, we're just super outranged. So then you see me kind of like click forward right here, even after the question mark ping comes out, just because I wasn't sure if sometimes like bot laners will disappear off the map and it's placed like a ward in the river or something, and then they show back up. If they showed back up, I was going to go, but since they didn't, I just decided to recall. So I pick up my call fields, just working towards warrior. And I'm seeing now two things. So I'm seeing number one, my Gromp is up and I could look for that. Or I'm also seeing that this Scuttle is spawning down here. And then in addition to this, I also see that their bot lane is coming back into the lane. And remember, I said that I actually wanted to try to win this game through bot lane. I thought that was kind of like my win condition. And Twitch Pike were able to do some stuff after I showed up early, so I was thinking, okay, maybe they can translate a lead if I give them one. Maybe they can translate that into winning the game. So I actually decided to play for this Scuttle instead. So I look for the scuttle. Now, I saw this trade happening down here. I saw Twitch taking a lot of damage, and that made me less confident to show up because I know that Caitlyn and Vel'Koz are just coming off of a recall. So I know that they're quite healthy, and Twitch is just taking a lot of damage. So I was thinking maybe I'll just stall it out. I go ahead and place a ward here just to see if NASA shows up when he shows up. Even though we established that NASA should be bot side because I saw, or top side, sorry. He should be top side because I saw him walking in that direction. That was a little while ago, and I don't know, sometimes in bronze silver games, like junglers just fucking, they walk one direction and then like he could have went like here into Fog of War and then just ran in a circle like right back to me. So I don't, like, it's really hard to predict junglers. So when in doubt, place a ward. Alright. Now that I've cleared the Gromp, I'm again wanting this gank on bottom. Even though Twitch is still pretty low, I know that the wave is going to be pushing back out, and so theoretically, there could be a space here for me. So I take the blast cone over the wall, and now I'm looking for this. So Vel'Koz is getting a lot of poke. However, I just felt very confident in this moment. And it was mostly because Twitch is like coming out of stealth and Twitch ulted. Auto the minion again, feels bad. Okay, so this isn't a very good play, obviously. Like, it didn't work out, and it wasn't a very good gank to start with. And even though, yes, I did auto a minion and Vel'Koz ended up getting away, that's not even the reason why this is bad. It's actually bad because I panned the camera over here beforehand so that you could see how low the Twitch and the Pyke were. Like, they had gotten heavily poked out by Vel'Koz, and Kate Vel were still at 100% health. So I was thinking that they really wouldn't be able to do very much for me, but again, it's been a long time since I've played any jungle champions at all. I wasn't sure of my damage. I thought, like, okay, I'm maxing Q and I have Tiamat Caulfield, so maybe I can just blow Vel'Koz up, and then I missed the auto attack. So all of it kind of just went to shit. I feel like now, like, watching it back, even if I did hit Vel'Koz, it probably wouldn't have even did the damage I was hoping for. Like, with one auto and then Tiger into him and stuff, I probably would have died if that happened. Instead, I got away, but then Pyke died. So here I kind of just decided to, again, I'm using my backspacing to determine, like, where they have vision and sort of like how much they're willing to play into me. So here's all of this. Now, I'm also seeing Twitch actually wants to go back in too. Like, once I started kind of playing around with stuff, I saw that Twitch wanted to go back in. And I see that Caitlyn's pretty low, so if Twitch can, like, come out of stealth and get 2 to 3 autos and then E, Caitlyn just dies. And so I'm kind of trying to keep Vel'Koz distracted here so that Twitch can close the gap on Caitlyn, because right now all Caitlyn can see is Vel'Koz chasing me down. I'm quite low and Vel'Koz is quite healthy. So Caitlyn's probably not going to be super concerned. Now, notice the clicks here on my champion, kind of like juking, going in different directions and all of that. Now, so let's watch this one more time so you can just kind of see the click patterns, preferably on me. Okay. So Twitch actually gave it away. He didn't walk far enough back for the stealth. Now, here, 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 and to him. And now I know, like, oh, he's used his Q and he doesn't have mono to, like, really spam stuff on me. And he threw his W earlier, so he doesn't have that. And he used his ult earlier, so he doesn't have that. So I kind of, like, in my head, I knew that if I could dodge the Q, and he doesn't have flash, I know that. So if I just dodged like this initial Q that he was going to throw at me, I knew that I could just kind of turn on him and deal some damage. I was actually hoping that Twitch would come around and help me as well. Now that I see this, they actually had a pink, so that also would have seen Twitch. Even if he did stealth back here instead of walking back in, the pink would have spotted them out anyways. So I knew that if I could dodge Vel'Koz's initial Q, that I could basically just turn and kill. So that's what I did, and then yep, and that's going to be the kill on the Vel'Koz. Now, what happens is the next thing I'm looking at is that Kate is like 1 health. Like I know that if I can hit her with an auto, she pretty much just dies. So I want to look for this. Tiger. Now, I actually wasn't really paying attention. I didn't really see that they had a pink ward at this exact moment. Watching it back, I see that it's there, but I didn't see that it was here in game. I don't know why exactly. I couldn't see that. Maybe it's a bug with the replay thing. So when I walk into the brush, this is when I realized, like, oh, there's a pink in here. And now I see that Caitlyn's going to get away with fleet footwork. Okay, so now I'm going to play with this a little bit. I'm sort of playing like mind games because I think that Caitlyn's actually going to run in here and look for me. I don't think that she's anticipating that I'm going to be able to kill her if she tries to find me. So I'm going to sit like right at the edge of this brush. See how I turn back around and I sit like right here? Because I'm banking. I bet she's going to come here and try to get me. So I turn around and I actually just run back into her. See, here's the trap right here. She was actually trying to outplay this exact scenario. And so in my head, I was like, oh, I'm going to sit here, and then I bet that she's going to face check the brush. But then I was like, wait, but she can set traps. So I was like, okay, I need to actually go. So that's why I ran out of the brush. And then see how she's just here. That time I don't miss the auto. Feels good. And there's the kill. Now I'm actually going to clear the ward out. Now, pretty much just going to look to recall after this. I could go Krugs, but I don't want to in this moment. What I want to do is get to top side, I'm pretty sure. So I can see that they're doing a rift, and I'm kind of pathing this way. I kind of anticipated that they were going to be on rift because Nasus was top for a while. Like, kind of try to recall the sequence of events here. Nasus was actually topside uncontested for a while, and I was like, okay. But still, I'm going to gank bottom because I just want to put pressure on there and get Twitch Pike ahead. And the gank went quite messy, and it took a long time. So Nasus, basically that's just a telegraph signal. Like if you gank one side of the map, it's basically a telegraph signal for their jungler to come and just take the objective on the other side. So I kind of thought, like, that's why I recalled just in this brush and just immediately path top, even though I didn't really have any camps up, like my Gromp wasn't up, whereas I had 2 camps up right here. So number one, I kind of suspected, like, they might be on Rift, but maybe if they started it late enough, I might be able to get in there and steal it. Or secondarily, what I was thinking also was that these camps are still more valuable than these camps because they've been cleared like more times, so they've been able to rubber band more. So that's actually twofold on that. And now I'm thinking, like, there's a skirmish happening, so I'm kind of bouncing back and forth in the jungle here, trying to decide what I want to do. Now, I remember thinking in this exact moment, I need Yorick to use W. Because if he keeps his W, then I walk into the box, like he's got Maiden up, so if I end up getting caught by the box, and he and the Maiden can just slap on me, like, I will die so quickly. But then Yorick uses the box right here. So notice how I was kind of hovering like right around here, like kind of running around the wall and just keeping a very big distance away. But as soon as the box is out, I'm running it. Now, I'm trying to get a piece of that Nasus. I do get a piece of the Nasus. And I press the attack. And Pyke ends up getting the kill, which is very nice. Now, I'm thinking about going back to top here and just shoving this wave in. I'm also thinking about clearing these camps. My blue buff just spawned, and so for me, that was kind of the thing that told me, like, okay, I'm just going to come into my jungle. Now, looking back on this replay, I should have actually gone top and shoved this wave in. It would have been much better if I didn't pan my camera to the top lane. Like, I was thinking about it as I was running. I looked at the minimap, but the minimap doesn't give you all the information that you need. So I should have actually panned the camera up here and seen all this wave is actually pushing. So if I came top, it would have seemed like a low value waste of time because there's only 5 minions up here. And I think another, like, maybe 1 would have died before I got there. So I would have gotten like 4 minion XP and maybe I would have gotten some gold from it. But it's like less than 100 gold in the long run. So it probably would have felt pretty low value, but this would have helped out top lane so much. However, I wasn't playing for top, and so I was kind of not really in the mindset where I was going to switch my camera to look at a lane that nobody was even standing in. So I'm just looking for a clear now. Scuttle spawn, so I'm going to come grab this. Now, I'm going to look for the Raptors here, just because I don't think that they should really be up, but there's just a skirmish on the top river. Now, typically whenever a jungler dies, like in river or in neutral territory, after they spawn, they'll go to the other side of the map where they died from. Because usually what happens is they've killed the camps. Like they killed these camps and then there was a fight here. And so there's nothing for him if he paths here. There's no reason to do this. So actually, usually what they'll end up doing is just pathing onto the other side of the map. And so what I was thinking was, I'll just check these Raptors. I don't think that they're up, but I'm just going to look at them because, like I said, in low elo, junglers are not very good, and the things that they do don't really make sense, and I don't think that they really have reasons for most of the actions they take. And this Nasus has Dark Harvest, so I make some decisions and checks and wards and stuff in this game that I normally wouldn't say is very good, or I wouldn't say is very high value, simply because I'm playing against someone who I've already judged they don't know what they're doing at all. So I'm going to check this and just see if it's up. It is actually up. I get a good ward. I stole the Raptors. Now, I'm thinking about a gank on top lane. But then I'm like, York's kind of close to his tower. So even though I didn't really want to play for top, I felt like Alawi's damage is pretty good. And I know that York doesn't have Maiden. So I was like, maybe I can get a gank. But then I was like, I'm not full health. York's pretty close to his tower. So I just checked his red buff and then I recalled. Now, instead of checking the red, I should have actually just went bottom. Like I could have... So after I took Raptors, I could have actually just pathed straight through here. Kog'Maw was in the area. He was about like right here, but Kog'Maw wouldn't be able to prevent me from running through mid lane. He might just deal some damage to me on the way, which is totally fine, and I would have been here for the skirmish. I remember thinking, like, as I recalled and started running, I was like, oh shit. Like, I actually lost track of the dragon timer because I was thinking about invading the Nasus, and I was thinking about the fight that just happened in River. So that was actually pretty bad of me. I forgot about the dragon timer, and that was really bad because Nasus snuck a dragon in early. And typically, Udyr is a champion that he excels at counter jungling, but he also excels at taking early objectives. And so I feel like I already let my team down by not taking that first dragon, letting Nasus sneak it on me. And now I'm not even at second dragon when it's spawning. So I feel like I'm playing very, very badly this game. even though obviously I'm 5-0 and I've done a lot to help my team, and bot lane is starting to win because of what I did down there. I still feel like, personally, I feel like I'm playing very badly because I'm not helping my team get objectives. So I'm trying to make my way over to the skirmish. Obviously I'm late. I do see Vel'Koz. I'm gonna just look for him. See kind of like what cooldowns does he have? Is he able to outplay me? Do land the stun on him. And he ends up getting just popped. Vel'Koz doesn't really respect my damage. He's level... I don't know what level he is. He's dead. But in any case, he's definitely like under leveled to me. Like you can see Pyke's level 8. So Vel'Koz might even be level 7. So I might have a 3 level advantage now. I'm going to just immediately start doing this dragon. We don't have very good vision for this, and my team's not helping me, so this isn't very good. But I did see Nasus get dropped in the skirmish. So what I was thinking was maybe I can just sneak this one. Like I said, like this game didn't feel like I was in control at this moment in time. It felt like very volatile. At this point, I've established that Kog'Maw is going AP. So even though AD Kog'Maw is hard enough for Udyr to get on, AP Kog'Maw is even harder because AP Kog has like next to no reason to ever walk up into auto attack range, and if he does, then he can just press W and his auto attack range becomes so much further. But for the most part, AP Kog'Maw is looking for the Rs from long range, and he's looking for Es. And the slow is pretty brutal to a champion like Udyr in the first place, if it's put in the right position and stuff. So I was thinking like, okay, mid lane is actually down by 25 farm. He's down a kill. Now he has an assist compared to Kog'Maw Sierra, but this, like, if you look at the actual gold difference in mid lane, it's 3,600 to 4,600, so it's already 1,000 gold diff in mid. And bot lane is like getting kills and stuff. Like I see that bot lane's doing okay, but I also see that Twitch is going for Mirror Mana. And Mirror Mana is a very scaling build. So if Twitch doesn't get to the spot where he can scale into that like Manamune, like maximum, you know, the 2 auto one shot basically from stealth and all of that stuff, it's gonna take like so much time, so much more time than if he just went crit. So I know that he's scaling, and the game might not last long enough just because solo queue and Loyola is volatile. Like he might play a very scaling build, and then maybe he'll get killed like 2 times to Nasus or something and just AFK. I don't know what he's doing. So maybe like maybe this is not like a very good player. Maybe his mental isn't very good. I don't know. He's playing a very scaling build on a very scaling champion, but he's doing okay, but he's also down like 30 CS. So, like, I'm not saying that he wasn't doing the best he could. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if this guy is going to single-handedly carry the game. And again, we've already talked about, like, I don't want to play into top lane, and I don't know what Alawi's doing with the tier. I don't know. So, this game doesn't feel like won or over to me at all. And this 12-7, the game is very, very close. So I shouldn't have really gone for this dragon, but I was feeling a little bit desperate. I was thinking, like, I cannot leave this on the map and go somewhere else. Like, we kind of won the skirmish. I got a pick on Vel'Koz. We got to secure that kill. Even though my team's not going to help me, I'm just going to do this dragon anyways and just kind of see what happens. This is one of those, like, roll the dice, and if it doesn't go your way, it felt to me like the game was losing anyways. Since I get that, I just walk into his jungle. I assume that he was like coming off a fountain or whatever. So that worked out pretty well. I got a blue buff. I got another drop of his. And I see Nasus on this ward. So I could have actually went and checked the wolves here, but I decide not to. I actually decide to look for this gank because Caitlyn's really overextended. And I don't think that Caitlyn's really respecting me too much. Like, I'm level 11, she's level 9, so I have a 2 level advantage on her, and my items are just like insane in terms of damage, whereas her items are not insane in terms of damage. So I'm thinking like, I want to get this gank on here, and my Twitch is too far away to help me, but what I was thinking is I'm just going to go for this anyways because I have such a big level advantage. then I get hit with this Vel'Koz Q coming in here, so I didn't anticipate this Vel'Koz being around. I thought for some reason that he would be further away. I'm not exactly sure like where he is. But I guess like, yeah, he just got there like just in the nick of time or something, and they must have had vision on that brush, and he was able to snipe me out with a really nice Q. However, Caitlyn's still, she's still overextended. And so she is going to end up dying, but watch my movements on this. Okay, so I'm looking for the blast cone, but the blast cone isn't there. So I just decide to loop. Okay, Vel'Koz gets me. Now, I'm kind of, like, if you notice, like, my trajectory, I kind of go here, and then I fake, like, in, and then I'm going to come back. This little zigzag here is because I'm anticipating a trap. Like, she could debut, like, right here. Or she could debut, like, right here or something. And so I'm trying to avoid wherever it is that she would place a trap. I'm going to actually go off in a trajectory that if she places a trap along this trajectory, like here, here, or here, that's actually what I want her to do because I already anticipated to cut back this way. So I'm kind of trying to bait out one of her traps. Whenever she trap animations, like it wastes some of her time, she has to stand still. So I'm hoping that I can get her to stand still a little bit, kind of just by doing a wiggle. And then, all right, so there's the cutback. Now, I see Vel'Koz E, and if I decided to just keep going in a straight line, or if I tried to cut her off, like this was the zigzag, right? Now, what I actually want to do is path this way, because that's going to be the direction that cuts Caitlyn off, and then I have all these angles to get on her, right? But this way is actually right through the center of Vel'Koz's E, and if I get knocked back from here, the gank is pretty much over, and I don't think that I'm going to be able to catch her. Like, I can look for an outplay on Vel'Koz versus Caitlyn, and I do have level advantage. He's actually level 7. Wow. I have a 4 level advantage on Vel'Koz. So there's potential for me to outplay this in a 1v2, but I'd rather like just not get hit by the E. So I get the stun, and then I run past. Instead of doing this path that I want it to do, I actually modify it by running a little bit down so that I don't get hit by the E. So even though this looks like bad pathing, or this looks like bad orb walking or whatever, like I'm not cutting her off, so technically I'm actually putting myself like behind her, like I'm on this side and she's on this side, right? So technically it looks like I'm bad by not I'm kind of keeping up with her. I'm actually doing that specifically to avoid this. Now, there's plenty of time still. I'm going to put all this on. I actually get all 4 autos, which is nice. Throw it in turtle. And I'm just looking to get out of there. I don't think the Vel'Koz is going to super extend that. Now my entire bottom side is up right now, so I'm just going to look to clear this out. And I have a free moment on the map too. Like, I don't want to recall and then just run top, even though Alawi died, because me holding the turret against Yorick, there's not really a point. Like, this entire mini wave is going to be dead by the time I get there anyway, so there's no point in me just trying to defend top. I could try to defend mid, but again, there's not really a point because they got to use Rift Herald, so that's kind of like my bad for not. I mean, I didn't feel like I wanted Rift, I wanted to gank bottom, you know? It kind of just is what it is. Mid lane is dead, top lane is dead. There's nowhere for me to be. Pyke gets picked off like in the river for some reason. I don't know what he was doing. Probably just recall here. So even though those 2 camps are up, I'm thinking probably that I have a lot of gold. Yeah. I had 1,300 gold, so I was thinking like, okay, I have enough for a Phage, and Phage is going to help me a lot. Because think about the champions that I'm trying to like gank and get on the most. They all outrange me, so Phage is really nice. Now, rather than pathing wolves into Gromp, I opt to do Gromp into wolves because that's going to set me in a better position by the time I finish. I know that I'm not going to have any camps up, but at least it puts me like more towards the bot lane rather than more towards the top lane. And the fact that this is like inefficient pathing is mitigated somewhat by the fact that I'm udyr and there's cloud stuff throughout the jungle. So I'm kind of just looking for them. I do see that. Able to get the ward. I want a gank onto Kog'Maw right now. I don't feel like I can get onto Caitlyn and Vel'Koz. Like, I'm not feeling it right now, even though I do have red buff. They have the Scuttle Crab, so it's very hard. You can see me trying to think about like where to go. So I end up looping through the jungle here. I see that Gromp is up, but I see that Twitch is kind of like going into them, and I don't really want him to die, so I'm kind of just here, just in case, but I don't really want to be here. So I'm thinking about the Gromp. I decided it's finally safe to do it. Now I'm looking for wolves, they're not up. So the reason I didn't just go like Gromp into bot lane, so you can tell that bot lane started playing like more forward, and it was because Pyke went mid, so I was thinking like me and Twitch 2v2 into Kate Vel, it's just a hairy situation. I'm not saying that we couldn't win in that scenario, but I've been constantly pressing tab this entire game, and I'm seeing that even with all the ganks, even with all the advantages I've gotten for Twitch, he's still 40 CS down. And Vel'Koz, just as a champion, has the true damage and stuff, like it's really nice. Even though this Vel'Koz is not very good, and I have 4 levels on him, and I'm able to dodge some of his skill shots. All it takes is for the right combination of his skill shots to land, and I can just basically get popped even with my level advantage. So I'm not really trying to take too many risks. So I'd rather just look for the wolves and try to screw Nasus out of another camp. This is another Gromp I've gotten from it. I think that's like the 3rd or the 4th one. Pyke actually does get to do something in mid lane, and finally I decide, well, there's no wolves up, so I'm letting them shove further in the lane by wasting that time going to wolves. Now I decide, okay, it's time to pull the trigger on this. So path around the trap, and then Vel'Koz flashes, so I just flash on Vel'Koz, pick up the kill there. I didn't want to give them like a room to not get killed there. So if he flashes, I'm just gonna auto flash after him. So blue buff is up. I want the blue buff. After the gank, I could have probably went back into my bottom jungle and cleared that, but the main reason why I didn't do that is that Yorick was shoving into the tower, and I didn't know if Veigar was going to go and like fully match. And we kind of talked about like, I don't know if Yorick or Alawi wins in the split push, so if Yorick continues to shove. Alawi tried to steal that Gromp from me, but I smited it away from her. That's the only reason I smited her. She was trying to Q it. That's actually the 2nd time she did that to me this game, like tried to steal my Gromps. I don't know, and I have to assume she was creeping me, but I don't really know why. Now I'm looking for Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw's pretty overextended. This is just me knowing the damage. So I knew that I had the damage to kill him. I didn't know if I would live afterwards. I actually didn't think that he would deal so much true damage, but he did end up dealing more than I anticipated. However, I didn't die, so that's really fortunate. And now Dragon's coming up again. I'm not feeling particularly pressured to be there. I do decide to take the recall, but I have my camera on this the whole time. So, like, while I'm running, I'm actually not watching my character. I'm watching, like, what's happening here. So I see this ward come out. Now, let's see how I approach this. I know that there's at least one, like, in this brush, right? So, number 1, I need to dodge the Vel'Koz poke. I also see that Twitch is getting a really nice flank angle on them.
It fouls
And they're also tanking Dragon right now, and I believe that's Pike's Pink Ward that he placed into the pit, so I can see what the health of the Dragon is. Now, Cloud Drake hits the hardest, I think, for sure. Like, the damage over time is really unreal on Cloud Drake for some reason. So I know that they're just having to tank this right now. So I'm content to kind of like dance out here. I'm giving Twitch like more time to set up. Going into the brush. Do step onto the Caitlyn trap. I didn't really know it was in there. Now, Yorick actually just get pulled into the event horizon. This is all pretty nice. I decide I'm going to get in there and try to stun the Yorick. Vel'Koz did a really nice ult off. But I've killed Vel'Koz so many times that the damage on it doesn't really matter. Like, he's so many levels down. I'm still 4 levels above him right now. Nasus pulled the trigger on this Twitch, which is unfortunate for Twitch. But while that's happening, like, we also pick up the kill on Vel'Koz. And now I'm thinking, like, okay, I think that Dragon is pretty much done. Like, Dragon's at least going to start to reset, and if they want to sit there and like tank it out, then I would do the same thing, just the bear and the turtle wiggle. But think Kog'Maw actually shows up to the fight. So we need to just leave at this point. And I don't have flash, so this is all like super bad. That Kog'Maw actually misses that R. I was wondering why I lived here. It's probably because he missed that R. Okay. So I'm out. Obviously, there's no way I can really contest that Dragon, so I just come down here and I just shove this. Just so that they can't, like, Dragon directly into my bot tier 2. Or whatever, you know? Now, when the team starts fighting over this, and the fight actually starts going pretty well, I decide, like, I'm going to run back over there and just see what happens. Now that Nasus is dead, like, I'm feeling a bit more confident. Because I know that they're still tanking Cloud, and now I'm the one with Smite, and I think I might be able to get in there and Smite. Now this is truly like the NA Silver Clown Fiesta, because I come down here and I shove the wave, and then I see like, oh wait, my team actually got a kill. The Dragon's still alive. And so I start running over here thinking like, oh, I can Smite the Dragon. It's got like low enough health for me to actually just run in, Smite, and then run away. But then as I run over here, there's actually a hidden ward in the river that Yorick starts teleporting on. So Yorick, who died at the beginning of the fight, this fight has taken so long that Yorick's now respawned, and he's starting to teleport directly on top of my head. But what I'm thinking is, I need to take this objective. Like, I want to push the pace on having dragons, and I want to set myself up for Soul, because Soul is going to be really, really good for us, because the additional like move speed is going to help me close the gap. It's going to help like Alawi close the gap. It's going to help Twitch and Pike close the gap. And it's going to aid Vygar a little bit, you know? It's just like the bonus MS is just so nice on all of our champions into their long-range champions. So what I was thinking is I want to like take initiative, and I want to take control of this Dragon fight right now. So I'm going to come in, single auto, Smite, and I'm just trying to run away. Unfortunately, I do get locked down, and I end up dying there. However, Alawi got a good value. So we actually did that entire like skirmish 4v5, and I still got the Dragon, and Alawi was able to put like massive map pressure on, so that's all really good, right? So I'm dead. I end up respawning. Now, on spawn, I'm thinking like, yeah, my bot side camps are up. I'm gonna, like, I don't want to be on the bottom side of the map at this point, because there's no Dragon and Baron is up, so I want to be clearing like bot to top at this point. Change my crubs, which is fine. Now, I'm just showing up mid because I saw that they were starting to group mid. So I saw a Kog'Maw mid and I saw Vel'Koz mid, and so I don't want to do I don't want to put ourselves in a position where we're behind on clearing the wave, and maybe Caitlyn also shows up mid, and now they're suddenly in a 3v1 pushing into Vigar. So what I'd rather do is just show up and start hitting the wave, even if that means I have to tax the wave a little bit. Normally as a jungler, I wouldn't think that taxing the wave is very good, but just in this case, making sure that they can't 3-man siege onto this tower, because Vigar's already lost this to a Rift Herald, and now this tower is like half health, a little bit less than half health. So I just really don't want them to gain initiative. The more towers that Vigar can sit behind, the easier the game is. So I see that there's like no one else coming, and I back off the wave. I'm thinking if we can get Scuttle here. Now, I see like Alawi flashed on the mini-map. I didn't have my camera there, but I saw Alawi flashed. Now I'm thinking like, I actually need to get this Nasus off of Twitch, because Nasus can dive Twitch, and he has the other Rift Herald as well. So I was thinking like, yeah, I want to kill this guy. So I'm just going to go in. That weather's actually really strong. I don't know if he's maxing his second or what. I saw York somewhere over here, so I pathed like behind the wall. Stepped into a Caitlyn trap, unfortunately. I was trying to get like a nice side angle or maybe a flank through this corridor, but now I'm trying to like hold this on my own. This thought by Twitch is like okay, but it's not what we need right now. What we need is to just clear the minions. So I'm just gonna hit the minions. I'm coming back on this Nasus because this Nasus is still here. And I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm just going to get right back on it. I still have pressed the attack, so I'm buffing the shit out of this Twitch. And I have red buff still, so I'm thinking like, I actually have like a decent amount of heal just with the slow. So there's all of that. At this point in time, I was thinking about how Baron is kind of an option, depending on like how this fight goes. And they actually pick up 2 kills. I'm just running in here to take the red, but then I see Caitlyn's gotten it. So Caitlyn flashes. Now I just want to pop the spell shield off of Cogma. I'm gonna pop the plant, see that raptors are up, so I'm taking this. Trying to escort Pike out of here. Now my top side jungle is up, so I'm going straight back to the top side. Notice how now I'm not clearing like blue to Gromp to wolves. I'm actually clearing like wolves to Gromp to blue now. So it's like a reverse path of what it would have been in the earlier game, and it's because I don't want to be pathing bottom. When Dragon's still a while before spawn, we're setting at vision in their topside jungle. There's skirmishes happening in their topside jungle. Like everything is still saying Baron to me in terms of like game indications right now. Even though Twitch is like split pushing bottom, there's still like there's a very real possibility that they are probably thinking Baron. So even though I'm not thinking like we can do the Baron, I'm still thinking about Baron. And even right now, just based on the vision that we have, like I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 of their champions, and all of them are topside right now. So they're like, it seems to me like they're grouping for Baron. So I don't want to clear here, here, and here and set myself up to just go into this bottom jungle. Even though the Raptors are up, I want to be around the Baron because that's where they are. Just at this exact moment of time. I also see like if I clear the blue last, like in this 3 camp like mini clear that I'm doing, if I clear the blue last, that means I'll just have it longer. So now I reset because I think that Dragon is the thing that we're going to be fighting for. So Twitch took the tower. Notice how they're now beginning to rotate over towards this Dragon. And so Dragon is now the thing like they're thinking about. So now I'm thinking like, okay, They're thinking about Dragon instead of Baron, so now this is good for me. Now, I am watching like York on the split push top, and normally I'd be happy to do a little dance and bait out some skill shots, but I don't know how long we have before York just crashes into this tower and takes our in-hit. So I'm kind of just trying to rush things, and I have a backline access directly onto Caitlyn. So I'm just going to try to blow this up. I don't care about eating that Vel'Koz auto. Mostly what I cared about, or the Vel'Koz beat, mostly what I cared about was blowing up Caitlyn. With this, the fight ends up going a little bit messy. I end up dying, unfortunately, and York takes the fight. And all of that was just because I played the fight a little bit faster than I wanted to, because I was afraid of York taking the in. So then I fucked up. York took the inhib anyways. Kind of how it happens. Coming back on the map now. Thinking about Baron again. They have a pink on it. I'm going to clear that off. I noticed that no one's up here to catch this wave, and I do not want the supers like shoving into my face because that's going to establish a lot of priority. And I think that there's some free time because I don't have any jungle camps up. Like, Twitch is going to take Krugs and maybe potentially shove out that wave. Raptors aren't up. Wolves, Grunt, Blue, like none of it's up. So since I have free time, I'm just going to shove the waves on top. Catch these supers. Now, I'm just dipping out of vision. I'm just using River to dip out of vision and to maybe get some vision of my own. But since I see Nasus and River, I'm thinking like, oh, they're coming for me. So I'm just trying to back way up and just watch the map and see what happens. Now I see Veigar going for a pick here. Just putting pressure on the Vel'Koz so that he can't defend the Caitlyn here. Wither is just insane. I think I downed her. So this is a pretty bad fight. I just got kind of overconfident. I was thinking at this point in time, like, oh yeah, the team's doing like really well. I bet we just win a fight if we take it, but what I failed to realize is that Twitch wasn't there and Alawi wasn't there. So it was actually just like a 3v5 fight. All of them were there. I should have anticipated that. I wasn't paying enough attention to the map, so that's definitely like 100% my fault. And now they're trying to do Baron. So notice how I'm spam pinging. I'm spam pinging this Baron like, oh, try to like stall them, try to like get them off or whatever. Even though it still is only like 3v5, I think that is totally fine. Okay. They end up picking up the masses. Now they're too low. Like, this team is kind of wiggling back and forth. Like, they can't really tell what they want to do, but they're too low, really, to do it. So they just back off. And notice how I'm pinging, like, be careful, be careful, be careful, because I don't want Pyke to extend this fight and drag Veigar in, because Veigar doesn't have any mana. But Pyke just, he manages to, like, pick up this kill, so... I just didn't want like my team to bait themselves or like overstay a fight, you know. So I think Cloud Drake is coming up in 130. Top to bottom clear. I'm setting up for Dragon. Now the reason that I'm thinking about Dragon so early this time is that I have 3, so now I'm going for Soul. I do see Nasus. I'm just gonna leave. I'm hoping that we can get a pick on York before this Dragon happens. Dodge the wall. Now, I want to get on this York, but instead I just decide to hit his maiden because I want Twitch to take the kill. Like, I don't want to be taking any more kills at this point. If you look at me, I'm 10-3. And I know that I'm not really the win con for the team because every one of their champions has a way to either avoid me or make the game hard for me. Like, York has the wall, Nasus Wither, and then all these three just outrange me like heavily. So even though I've demonstrated that I can outplay them in small situations, I don't want to be like the sole carry for the team. So when I see like Twitch and Pyke are hitting the York, I'm just going to hit the Maiden. I don't want to take the kill. Now, obviously, I showed bottom, which is a free like indicator to Nasus that he should do the Baron. So I decided to do the Dragon because I see my team like running over here and doing this. So technically, like, if this were higher rank, I would think like the correct call would be for me to go over there with them, just in case they try to ignore my team. But whenever I panned my camera and I saw that they were low, like I see Nasus is pretty low and I see Vel'Koz is pretty low. So I was thinking like, Vygar is like super healthy and it kind of sucks to try to do a Baron into Vygar, especially because he's got full utility build. He's got Glacial and then Twin Shadows Rylai's GLP. So I was thinking like they can definitely prevent the Baron from being taken. Or even if they do take Baron, they're gonna, like, a few people are gonna die. And York's already dead, so they're not gonna have Baron on very many people. I would rather just, if that's what it comes down to, then give them Baron, but take a couple kills and then get Soul. Soul is just like really important to me in this game. Ends up being a little skirmish here. We'll kind of watch how this unfolds. So I see that my team is posturing for a fight, but I want my red buff before I go like walk into a team fight. Let me see this. So now this is kind of just me kind of flexing. Like, I shouldn't have really taken this fight. Like, Alawi is dead, Vygar just died, Pyke's pretty far away, and Twitch phased. So, sorry. So there's not a good reason for me to take this fight. I just kind of thought like, well, if they reset and then go to Baron, like they'll have 5 and we won't. So part of me was kind of like, I wonder if I can just like pick up like 1 kill in this scenario. Like I've done well all game. I'm 10-3, and I'm level 17. So I'm like crushing in this game. I'm 2 levels above their top, 2 above their jung, 2 above their mid, and then like just multiple levels above their bot lane. So I was thinking like, I'm quite fed. I have some good items, and I hope I can just pick up a kill here. Kind of my thought process. So I'm just kind of trying to see how this works out. My Pyke does end up going in for me. Now all this is really nice. Like, I did know my Pyke was there. I left the Caitlyn because I thought that Pyke was gonna auto and then ult her, and then with my auto attack from Bear Stance, it would have just killed her, or Pyke would have gotten the execute either way. So that's why I left Caitlyn. I actually didn't realize that he was gonna die before he ulted. Okay, so Kog'Maw flashes. Now I'm going back into the Caitlyn. I just decided to smite her because I'm getting creep blocked a lot. You can see how my character is really like getting messed up with the minions. I was like, that's fine. I'm just gonna smite it. Pyke gets out, and York used wall. So York used wall as a free sign for me to just go. Now, this is just going to be a Baron scenario because I've just killed like 3 of them. Remember, I was just walking and hoping to get like 1 kill so that they couldn't just reset and do Baron. But just because me and Pyke were able to outplay them, and so we actually went into like 2v3 and killed all of them. So now I'm thinking like, okay, now it's a 4v2, And we can just look for Baron here. So this is pretty much just the end of the game here. So NASA shows up, we have a good fight, everything goes really well. We take Baron, buy my last items. I'm thinking about playing the map, I'm also thinking about grouping. This was a mistake by me as well. So what I was thinking is I'm just going to force a fight, but I don't think that my team was really on the same page as me. Like, I saw that they were pretty close to their tower, but I was like, I can get definitely a slap on one, so I popped Righteous Glory, just hoping that like my team would engage afterwards, but we just weren't on the same page, and Twitch was dead, so all in all, this was just a bad thought by me. I go in, get locked up, force the fight. I do end up living. We don't get any kills. Some summoners are burned. My flash is down, and then I think, yeah, I just come down here and shove out bot. So I can't be any use to my team right now. Like, I could reset and then try to run it down mid again, but I don't really want to do that. My Righteous Glory is going to be on a cooldown for a little while, and so what I thought was, what can I do in this position, like leaving mid lane, having to flash out, and then like what can I do? Because there's no Baron on the map, there's no Dragon on the map, so what I could do is at least push this and try to get this tower while my team just continues to siege down mid. That was my thought. I get the wave in. I'm kind of just waiting to see where the enemy team responds to me. Are they going to rotate from mid and stop this wave crashing into their tower? And then it doesn't look like they do. So I drop the ward. My team's having a pretty successful siege. They got tower. So now I'm going to keep going and just see if they show up to stop me. Which they do. So I'm fine. I'm chilling. I'm leaving. Now I decide to stay because then I see my team back in mid lane start sieging again. Now, I want to back here. I don't want to stay here, but since my team is here, it kind of forces me to stay. Like, my presence in bot lane forces Kog'Maw to be here. So, anytime that Kog'Maw can't hit my team, I feel like value. So, basically, I'm just playing, like, mini-games with Kog'Maw. Just sitting off to the side. Yep. Not looking for any sort of fight. Valkyrie gets caught, and that's my signal to go in. Run back, peel from my back line, end up stunning the Yorick. And now I'm thinking about what can I get. And the mid wave is pushed up, so I'm going to take this. Take that. Meanwhile, Twitch managed to get the next minion wave under. So I can come over here. Smack this. And then while this is happening, meanwhile, Alawi's been pushing top lane, so notice me, I'm not even looking at what my team's doing. I'm going straight over here. I don't care that Kog'Maw's killing Twitch. That's the thing, I don't care. I don't care about the minions, Alawi can have them. Now we have trip in hips. And Alawi's pinging for, like, end, or pinging for towers. I don't really agree with this, but since there's minion wave under here, I'm like, whatever. He one-shots Nasus, which is nice. Dies to the Vel'Koz. So I'm able to get one tower, and then I just leave. I do have like a Veigar here, but it's not really helping me. I run over here to try to keep him alive. So I want Veigar alive because Dragon's coming up soon. And then I just reset, and I think I pick up my Titanic Hydra. Yeah. Just like my last item, and I pick up a white pot as well. Just for some extra tenacity. Looking in the jungle. Still have a Ghost Portal there for some vision. That's all pretty nice. Now, they can't contest Elder because we have trip and hits, and I just pinged for the end. I think the Baron was up in like a minute or two, but I was thinking like, we have Elder, and we have trip and hits, so we should just be able to walk in and win the team fight. It's just how I felt about it. So, last fight, Caitlyn dies, and then I just smacked it up, and that's pretty much the end of it. So, the big thing about this game was just like, I definitely didn't play it correctly. Like, you can tell that there was a lot of like mistakes mechanically and decision making, and I died sometimes for free. I didn't pay attention to my teammates all the time. So that just goes to show, like, you don't need to be perfect and always make like the optimal decisions. I certainly didn't make the best decisions all game long, but I made good enough decisions. I knew what I was trying to do. I knew that I was trying to put pressure on bot lane. I knew that I was trying to put pressure on mid lane if I could. And then I knew that I was trying to play around dragons. And after losing the first dragon, I just committed to taking the rest of them. And that's pretty much what I did all the way up to the Elder Dragon. And then just taking smart skirmishes, looking for those small outplay scenarios, kind of just like ducking your head into a skirmish and seeing like, is this something that I can feasibly stay in? Or is this something that I have to leave? And just by doing that, that's how I actually secured the Baron in that game. I just poked my head into the skirmish with Pyke and just kind of thought like, I wonder if I can do anything here. I wonder if we can just get one kill to stall their Baron effort. And then we ended up getting 3 kills and getting the Baron off of it. So it kind of just boils down to knowing when to get in, knowing when to get out, all that sort of stuff. And I think that the pathing was okay. This game, I probably could have done a little bit better on that. But overall, that's the first video. It wasn't the best. Hope you liked it anyways.